with the orange bus right in front of me, and I just stayed right behind it.
Beautiful.
And I put my flashers on, nice and slow behind the bus, and I was totally safe, and everything was wonderful.
That's
Made
amazing.
it home safely. Yes.
Because it was, the word was weather alert, winter squall.
Yeah.
I've never even gotten that weather alert.
Never even heard of that word before.
A squall.
Is that like a rugby term?
No, oh, you're thinking of the scrum.
Yeah.
That's funny. Squall.
Yeah. So that was my positive news.
We're glad you're okay.
Yeah.
Glad you made it. Not everybody makes it.
Yeah, thank you.
My positive is that I have a great team of coaches at Ryan Mayer Coaching. I'm growing the team. So if there's any coaches out there who want to learn more about being part of the team, let us know. But I was just on the line. That's why we started a little bit late. I was chatting with one of the coaches on my team just about making improvements. Because I know I'm not perfect. And we were talking, brainstorming ideas. What can we do to be better? You can tell whoever you were going to tell that we are live on YouTube now.
Oh, okay.
We have one person watching. Hey, make sure everybody would love to have you check in. Just let us know, where are you tuning in from? We're in tropical Cleveland. Where are you at? And how's everybody with this crazy weather? I have 2 people on my team from Texas, another from Alabama, and they were saying that it was ice and snow, and they're not used to that down in the South. So a bunch of things were shut down. How about everybody else? Where have I seen you before? I don't know. Maybe in your For You page? Question mark. Oh, wrong charger. Can I borrow this charger?
Sure, man.
Okay. Like we were saying before, if this is your first time here, give this some likes and also let us know. Give us the number 1 emoji to let us know if this is the first time you're here. One other thing we always like to do on Folding with Friends is to encourage everyone to hydrate. So if you haven't already today, hydrate. Rain Laurel, first time here. So glad you're here. Chelsea, there you are. Yes. Oh my gosh. I'm so glad you're here. Okay. Chelsea, request to go live. Chelsea, the therapist and coach, she's here.
Hey, Chelsea.
Chelsea, see if you can request to go live. Oh, good. Kate's about to put away laundry. Good job, Kate.
Awesome, Kate. Way to go, sister.
Guests. Here we go. Accept. Yes. Coach Chelsea. Let's see. Are you all right? This is the first time I've gone live on. There you are.
Hey, how are you?
I'm doing great. Can everyone else see Chelsea? Because like right now you're just in a tiny little corner. You won't be shocked to hear that I have ADHD. And Chelsea texted me and was like, are we still doing this live? And I was like,
it was time.
I know. Andrea told me, and I got pulled into talking with my coach and I lost track. It's totally my bad. I'm sorry about that.
No problem. I figured maybe it was some of the TikTok's been a little wild lately, so I figured maybe you were having some technical difficulties.
No, it wasn't the wiring on TikTok. It was the wiring in my own brain. But I'm so glad you're here, and I appreciate your flexibility. But Chelsea had reached out to me and I'm so excited to introduce you to the audience. And she said, "Hey, love what you're doing, and would love to be a guest on Folding with Friends." And I'm like, "Let's go," because folding is more fun when you fold with friends. But yeah, Chelsea would just love to know more about you and your journey, and what's brought you here today.
Yeah, so I am a licensed therapist, a psychotherapist in California. I was diagnosed with ADHD as a kid and then reassessed in college. I had some struggles in college to keep it academically reassessed and promptly put on a stimulant. I spent 20 years on and off stimulants, and now, when it became time to come off of them, either for pregnancies or, different reasons, and for kids. And so I didn't want my child to be exposed to amphetamines when I was pregnant. So I had to get off. I found it tremendously hard to get off this medication. It was, when I got pregnant with my first child in 2015, it was a cold turkey stop. The moment you found out you were pregnant, they took you off. And so while I really appreciated that approach because it kept things safe, it was difficult to go from one day relying on medication to control my symptoms and one day not.
Oh my gosh.
Did they offer any non-stimulants as another option?
So I chose to not be on any medications while pregnant. That was a personal choice. There was some offers to do non-stimulants, but I don't know your guys' personal experience with them. But going from a stimulant to a non-stimulant is a pretty big jump. And if there's no transition plan, it can still be pretty tough.
Sure.
And so, yeah, that was just my experience, and one that I am actually very thankful that it went like that because it gave me the opportunity to see how difficult it is for people to go cold turkey. So what I found is that I was really, really dependent upon this medication, and I used it as a severe crutch. I didn't learn a lot of the skills and tools that I needed to manage my ADHD naturally because I didn't need to when I was medicated. I didn't really need those tools, a lot of them.
Wow, but that's pretty awesome. The medication was that effective for you for so many years.
Yeah, it was. I mean, they changed it often and went to different doses and went through all of that, but I came to a point 2 years ago and I just did not want to be reliant on it anymore. And so I got off of it. And I see a significant amount of people in my private practice with ADHD. And what I was finding is that the more honest and open people got about it, and we could have really honest conversations around addiction, I came across a lot of people who are abusing their medication.
Oh, jeez. Okay.
Stuck in a refill roller coaster. And the refill roller coaster to me is, I would see people taking a month worth of medication in a week or two.
Oh, man.
And then just white knuckling it until their next refill. And I don't hold any negative feelings towards medication. It helped me while it helped me. And then once it was time for me to get off, it was tremendously difficult, like I said. And so now I help people transition to get off, or that either just want to get off or need to get off because they are abusing it.
Chelsea,
did you utilize any nutritional techniques to help with your ADHD naturally?
So I do utilize nutritional techniques. That is not my frontline defense. I put into practice for myself a lot of cognitive behavioral therapy, a lot of tools in terms of organization and that type of stuff. Like I said, I have 4 kids. I run a business. I run a private practice. I didn't have time to do the typical withdrawal that you hear people talk about on TikTok of like, I stop my medication and I just lie in bed for 30 days. And, as a parent, you could know we don't have time for that. We don't have time for that at all. And so I needed to figure out something I needed to figure out quick.
And that's what I was going to ask. I just want to jump in just for a sec because I want to go back to what was it like when they said to you, hey, if you're pregnant now, 2015, you got to stop. So like, can you, if you're open to it, would you be willing to share that part of the story? Because that's the part I'm like,
what happened?
Brain? Yeah, like what happened?
Yeah, it was really, really difficult. I felt slightly paralyzed.
Okay.
I realized immediately that the medication had become a crutch for me, and it just didn't feel normal to be. It didn't. I really, in that moment, to be completely honest, when the doctor said that, there was panic. There was some panic around how am I going to function? I had this big career. I needed to be really alert. At that time, I was working in a high security prison doing psych evals.
Oh my gosh.
It wasn't like I could be less than 100% in that environment.
Right.
It wouldn't be safe to do so. So there was a lot of panic. I definitely utilized a therapist right away and said, I need to work through this and start to learn how to manage it naturally. I would say that what came up for me almost immediately was probably mild to moderate, maybe depressive symptoms. Like I just felt really lethargic. Part of that was all of my pregnancies were quite difficult. And so it was a mix, and it was hard to tease out. Like it was hard to tease out what was pregnancy-related symptoms, what was ADHD, and what was medication withdrawal.
Do your kids have ADHD?
One of them is suspected. But none have been diagnosed, and none it to the point to where it is impairing their functioning. So
got it. And the reason I was asking more about like what it was when you stopped is because there's been a couple times where I've gotten fed up kind of the same way as you were saying, where I'm like, you know what? I don't like the fact that this is just part of my routine now. I want to be able to do without it. I'm going to go a couple days, like I don't need this stuff. And then I just feel sort of like what you said, so lethargic. And so it's good to hear that there's hope on the other side.
Yeah, there's definitely hope. And I was, that is one of the reasons I think a lot of clients choose to work with me. Is because I've been there and I walked through those shoes, and I have experienced pregnancies, managing your ADHD symptoms naturally. And I really, once I decided for good, I was done with stimulants. I also gave up any addictive substance. I gave up alcohol as well during that time. And so I just felt like this, because for me, they had me at such high doses towards the end of 20 years because tolerance builds up and all the things you guys already know.
Chelsea, did you give up red dyes too?
No, I didn't get that specific with my diet. I haven't needed to.
Okay. Well, we were just about to go somewhere. About not dependency, but tolerance, because that's something I would love to get your expertise on, because I'm now, I'm around, I think I'm 20 plus years now. So it's a real thing, right? Because I'm not just imagining it.
It is a real thing, and each psychiatrist sort of handles it differently on how they say to try to reset and to try to do things, but to adjust it. I never found those things effective for me. Over at the end, I found it harder to manage and get, essentially how I look at it now is I was trying to get a certain effect, and trying to make it last and sustain long enough for me to get all the things done that I needed to get done in that time period before it either wore off, excuse me.
Chelsea, have you ever heard of the ADHD and autism diet?
Yeah, I don't go too much into the nutrition part of it. That was not for me what it has been my focus. I'm a therapist. I work on the cognitive end of it. I have not worried as much about, for me, the nutrition piece.
Sure.
Have you ever had any patients that had a positive experience changing their diet to get a different, decreased ADHD symptoms?
Yeah, and typically I refer those patients out. So my practice is solely dedicated now to working with people who are withdrawing from medication. So it's more on the addiction end of it, the psychological addiction, the dependency, and that.
Yeah, but everybody eats food, so I mean,
Sorry,
food's part of it.
Kind of interrupting.
Sorry. No, it's okay.
I mean, everybody eats.
Well, I know, but let's let Chelsea tell what she's going to talk about. You talked about withdrawal symptoms, Chelsea, and I think it's something really important for people to hear about, because I don't think this is talked about enough. I mean, what does that look like when you're working with your patients? What kind of things would people experience?
Well, it is a little bit specific, but I think that the ones that seem to cross over that I notice is like the lack of energy. They feeling a lot in the morning, having a tough time focusing, specifically having a tough time like locking in and doing tasks that they don't want to do. Those tasks that are naturally harder for us because we don't have any interest in them. Without having that switch to flip with a pill, we have to build out some skills around how do we do that, how do we push through and do it in a time blocking manner, do it in short stints, whatever it takes. But the things that seem to bother people most are the energy and the temporary like decrease in mood.
Hi, I can relate.
It sucks. It does. It really sucks. And
on average, how many weeks does the lethargy last?
Anti-medication out there, and that's certainly not my stance. I just am for the people that are struggling in silence. There's not a lot of people talking about it. There's not really a lot of safe spaces for those who are stuck in that dependency or addiction cycle to talk about it openly, because when they do, or they go to the psychiatrist just cuts them off. Will say you're addicted or you're abusing, you're done, and not look at any tapering, not look at any other options for them. So that's really tough.
Andrea, what was your question?
On average, how many days does the lethargy last?
I would say about a week, about a solid week. And it's not debilitating. It sucks for sure. It sucks, but
yeah,
you can push through. You can still go to work. You can still get the things done. It's really tough. It's not on the same level, and it's not something that you could like drink a Red Bull and just feel like you did.
Right there. Go.
Yeah, Ryan and I went on vacation. He forgot to take his medication. He literally couldn't get out of bed the entire week. It was extremely debilitating, and sad for the family that we couldn't have fun.
Well, I also had a bit of a digestive challenge there too, but yeah, I was feeling constantly tired. I remember that trip. That was bad.
Yeah, and I think if you're not prepared for it, when you have those abrupt stops and you haven't put any supports in place, that happens. People
100%.
do get just stuck, right? And it does feel absolutely debilitating because you haven't mentally prepared yourself for it, right? Like I have had clients that have done that, like traveled, or they're in a country where they can't get a refill or something like that. And we've had to have some kind of emergency coaching sessions of like, okay, what are we going to do?
Right.
Because they literally couldn't, stay in bed. They could not. Like they needed to travel that day, or they had small children to take care of, or they didn't have a partner with them, different situations, but couldn't. I think for me, that's something, being a mom is something that really helped me. It was like, moms don't get a break.
Right.
Andrew, you'll know this. Like, we don't get to, even when we're sick, we're typically still caretaking at some level of the kids. So having that mindset and being able to pull on that sort of like mental strength is helpful for a lot of women who are in withdrawal of changing.
I agree. I think men cannot push through like women can.
Oh, sure.
I know. I hate to say that, Brian. Sorry, but I totally agree. I think we do. There is something that we do push through. I wouldn't say I'm a tough cookie on any respect at all. But I think when it comes to parenting and it comes to doing the tasks of daily living, we are able to push through despite how we feel. We push through.
No argument here.
Yeah.
It is tough.
Single dads with ADHD out there, you are the bomb.
We're praying for you. No, just kidding.
Especially if you have ADHD kids.
Do you both have ADHD, if you don't mind me asking? I don't know about your history.
I do not. But our son has extreme ADHD. He was suicidal this evening.
Oh gosh, I'm so sorry.
Thank you. Yeah. It's tough.
It's really tough. And the level to which we feel emotions and we feel just anything, honestly, the sensitivity there is so real.
And yeah, and it's hard because obviously as an ADHD coach, I study this and have a lot of experience seeing my clients go through a lot. So I'm sure you run across this too as you're going with your patients and stuff. But I can see it happening because he was upset about not getting. We had already ordered him a Nerf gun that he was excited to get, and it wasn't gonna arrive. He didn't like how long it was taking to get here. It's like a classic ADHD kind of thing, delayed gratification, and he just got so upset about it, and it was leading to a whole bunch of other things, and it just kind of escalated really quickly. He's 8 years old, so he's still figuring things out. But yeah, the struggle is real for so many people. That's why
it's so irritating when people say ADHD is a superpower. Like, no, like there's a lot of problems. This is not a superpower. This is a problem.
For everyone who's listening
this is unsafe
and watching, would love to know your thoughts if you relate to this. And by the way, Chelsea, we call you Chelsea, Dr. Chelsea, Coach Chelsea. What do you prefer?
Just Chelsea's perfect.
Can anyone relate to what Chelsea's saying? Any parents out there, any moms out there, anybody who's maybe on medication but doesn't like that? We're here to answer your questions tonight because we want this to be helpful for everyone who's here. Chelsea, can you tell everyone more just about where you're at? And obviously at the end, we'll say the whole, where can people find you? But just in case people wanted to reach out.
So the easiest way to find me, I literally got on TikTok 90 days ago. I had somebody challenge me to be more outspoken about my personal journey and that it would be helpful for others.
Wow,
and
I love it.
Up until this point, most people didn't know I was medicated. Most people didn't know that this was something that I struggled with. And, it still is something that only my husband really was kind of privy to.
Thanks for that vulnerability. It's really takes a lot of courage.
It's not fun. It's certainly not fun. And it's not fun talking about this piece because I think so many people cannot relate to it, similar to social drinking and alcoholism, right? You have all the people who socially drink and who are like, I can't understand. Why don't they just stop? Why don't they just knock it off and stop misbehaving? Like addiction is so misunderstood. And so it's like you have a lot of the ADHD community that sort of turns on its own people and will say, well, then of course you must not have ADHD if you ever became dependent or you ever experienced euphoria as a result of a medication change, or if you ever abused your medication, then your diagnosis is invalid and it gets really toxic. So it is a little bit tough, and I see where that comes from, and I hope to bring a really balanced, medication helped me, and I've seen both sides of it. It helped me for a period of time. It really did. And it helped me in my academics. It helped me in graduate school. But the point in my life and that I'm at as a parent and as a business owner, I don't want that anymore. I didn't want to feel blunted in my emotions. I wanted to be able to really emotionally connect to my kids, be present. I didn't feel totally present when I would take my medication, which is weird because it helps you focus, but I was all in my head and not in my heart.
Wow. That's a great way to put it. The way that I describe it to people, because I always say, the pills don't bring the skills. It's like, just because you're revving up your engine. That doesn't mean it's going to make everything better. And the way I describe it is, it's like if you wind up a toy, like you pull the car back so it zooms. If you aim it in the wrong direction, it's going to go, but maybe that's not the direction you want to go in. But when you're on a stimulant, sometimes you feel like you can't stop it. Like you're just going. Does that sound familiar to some of your clients and patients' experiences?
Absolutely. And those are those that feel so you have two responses to a stimulant. You have those that it is sedating.
Yeah.
They'll say that they, forget to take it. They don't feel any effect from it. And sometimes they can go and take a nap afterwards.
Yeah.
You hear those.
Yep.
And then you hear the other, which could be also like inattentive versus hyperactive types of ADHD, right? And those medication responses, we're doing quite a bit of research in that now.
Yeah.
And it feeling more stimulating, feeling more uplifting, feeling like you're driven by a motor, feeling like, it's like your turn, like the switch is flipped. It's like the stadium lights are on.
Yeah.
And when they're on, you can't turn them off. And that I found to feel, for me, like you're saying, like you rev up the engine and you don't have a ton of control over which direction you're going to go if you don't have the skills, right?
Yeah.
So while I was on stimulants, and even when I was training to become a therapist, ADHD was never my focus. It probably should have been, honestly, so I could apply it to myself, but it was never like an interest area of mine. And so I basically just swapped out any skill building with taking a pill each day. Like one of the questions I ask my clients that sort of gives me some insight into their relationship to their ADHD medication is, where do you keep it? And most clients that are at least to the point of dependency or abuse, it's in their bedside table. They take it before their feet even hit the ground.
Yeah.
It's kind of the first thing. So it's like your nervous system doesn't even have a chance to operate before it's chemically induced.
Wow. Yeah, I can say that. I mean, not that I'm here to say like, this is me, but I at least can say that that's not me. In fact, I sometimes forget to take it if it's not right in front of me. Like I put it out in the middle of our island in the kitchen to remind me to take it. And today I actually forgot.
I think sometimes when people say they forget to take it, I feel like that's a healthy indicator. You know what I mean? We have ADHD, we are forgetful people. We should probably forget our medication sometimes, right? Yeah. If those who have crossed over to the addiction cycle and abusing their meds, they're not forgetting to take it. They are actually remembering too often.
I just want to say thank you, because I never expected to say this, but this is the first time I've literally ever been proud that I have forgotten to take my medication. But today is that day, because I legitimately, I'm like, wait, did I? And it turns out like I didn't take it in the morning or the afternoon.
Chelsea, what percentage of your clients have addictions in other areas?
Oh, that's a good question.
I would say, let me think.
Do you mean clients or patients who have ADHD?
Yeah, like they have ADHD, they had an addiction to their ADHD meds, and do they also have like sexual addiction, gaming addiction, alcohol addiction?
That's a good question.
Co-occurring alcohol use disorder is very common for stimulant abusers. So also abusing other medications that might counteract the ADHD meds is very common. But when you look at sort of their preferred addiction or their drug of choice, it typically is stimulants of some sort. Maybe it started with cocaine, maybe it augmented into methamphetamine. But it is, they want to be revved up. Not relaxed, not checking out. They want to check in.
Oh, wow.
So you see a lot of type A personalities. You see a lot of high achievers. I have a lot of clients that are C-suite CEOs, doctors, attorneys, even psychiatrists. I have a really accomplished caseload, which is it's so cool. Like they trust me with this, but it also goes to tell me that there's that perfectionism piece that's coming into it, and we're trying to live beyond human scale.
Oh yeah.
I don't know. Have you ever read the book Addicted to Perfect by Vitaly Buford?
No, but I'm gonna literally write that down right now.
Don't even think about it.
What?
Ryan has an addiction to purchasing books. Chelsea.
No. I'm not gonna buy it.
Yeah, we all do. It's like it's an addiction to knowledge, and then we just don't read them.
Yeah.
That's why that's a library. Get it from the library.
That's what I was gonna do, actually. Side quest on that exact note. My goal in 2026 is not to read more books, but rather to open more books. And I'm proud to say that I've done so every day so far, where I just will pick a book off my shelf, because Andrea is right. There's a lot that I've purchased, and they're like fine wines. They're on the shelf and yet to be open. But I have now done that, and it's been great, because obviously I've given myself permission, because I'm not addicted to perfection, that I'll just pick like a random page. I'll literally just be like, whoop, and just open it. And it's like, oh, cool. And like, if I like it, I'll keep going. And if not, no problem. So that's been kind of fun.
That is like one of the most ADHD things I've ever heard you say.
Yeah. But I'm still getting things.
I cannot even handle it.
Yeah. So anyway, addicted to perfection, your high performing clients.
Yeah, it's sort of a personality profile that comes with it. It seems to be, anyways. It's your least likely culprit. It's not who you would think would be struggling with addiction issues. It's kind of hidden in plain sight.
Ooh.
It's hidden in success.
Ooh, yeah.
I had somebody who was kind of heckling me. I went on a live, and they're like, "Oh, you deal with people who are addicted to Adderall. What was their rock bottom? Would they start a business and make $1 million? Like, must be terrible." And I was like,
What?
I wish that's what it looked like. But
Oh my.
I think at the end, that revving up that wind up car and in the wrong direction is really when you start to see people get off track. Is that they can't sustain focus on the things that are important. And for a lot of people, what goes is their family and their relationships first.
Right. That's bad. Well, you mentioned something that really stuck out to me earlier about how you focus in working in CBT and other forms of therapy. Any tips that you could share? Obviously, they're general, so it's the following is not medical advice. Please seek out a licensed professional. But just in general, for people with ADHD, things that you've found have been helpful for them?
So people ask me this all the time, and I don't necessarily, and maybe we could even have a little banter on this.
Yeah.
I think that sometimes generalized skills, everyone's ADHD presentation is a little bit different. And so I like to start with what is the biggest weakness. Like, what do you, Ryan, struggle with the most with your ADHD? Like, what is the biggest rub for you that causes problems in your life, symptom-wise?
Following through. So, like, in the moment, like, great example, just this weekend, this is a perfect, like, ADHD case study. So, the kids, you probably have them at your house too, the coupe cars, like the little tykes, like you can walk underneath it. The ones that...
Yeah, we have it. My youngest are twins. They're 7, so they're a little older for them.
Yeah.
We did have those.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we are fortunate that our first floor is pretty open design. So there's like kind of almost like this track that they can go around. Unfortunately, they also tend to think that they are bumper cars. So they end up hitting the wall, and there's like this one line across this painted wall, and then there's one spot where they would hit a couple times, and it made this hole. Well,
a dent.
No, it was the paint got knocked off, so it wasn't just a dent; it was a hole where like the plaster's showing. So one day, very impulsively, ADHD, because it was white plaster with like a tan wall, and I'm like, you know what? I'm positive I have like either a Sharpie or a dry erase marker, I can just like color this thing. You won't even notice it. Well, spoiler alert, don't use markers on plaster. It doesn't work. So like Andrea comes home one day, she's like, why is there a bright orange like spot on our wall? I'm like, yeah, I tried to fix that, but it didn't work. So after 3 weeks of Andrea being like, so you going to work on the hole? And I'm like, yes. So I go downstairs. Thankfully we had some paint left over still. So I get the paint, I set it out in front of it so that I keep seeing it every time I walk past it, go to my office. So I see it. And then eventually we're like, okay, today's the day. So I go to paint it. I paint over the hole, and there was a couple of other like marks next to it. So I get those little marks, but like it wasn't enough because there was plaster because it like absorbs in. So then this goes to another ADHD, like perfectionism, and the car is wound up, like we were talking about. All I needed to do was paint the hole. But instead I got out like the little like plaster putty to like fill it so that you can sand it down and paint over it. But I noticed a bunch of other dings, and I'm like, well, while I'm here, I'll get these other spots. Then we had a family, event we had to go to. So we come back and there's just Chelsea, there's like, it looks not like Swiss cheese, but there's just like these white blotches everywhere. And Andrea's like, what is going on? And I'm like, hey, while I'm in there, I thought I would just fix and she's like, okay, can we talk about this next time? So now I'm sanding everything down. I paint over everything, and like, it looks good now, but also like while the paint was drying, it was like, wait a minute, is this going to turn out, or are we going to have to like call a painter? So long story short, following through in a timely manner, and then only doing what's necessary, not overdoing it.
Are you medicated when this is going on?
I'm just trying to.
Chelsea, literally, if Ryan's not medicated, he's face down in the pillow.
That's
Okay.
a slight exaggeration, but yes.
He's taking his medication.
Yes, I took my medication.
I do find that it is hard to not expand upon the original task when people are medicated.
100%.
Which is so frustrating because it's like I have all this energy and I'm sped up, right? So I can do it. And then we go on all these side quests. And your brain would normally and naturally be able to sort of regulate and say, like, that's not important, right? This isn't urgent. I can prioritize. I can do what is the biggest, most, let's work on the big dent. Let's work on what's going to make my wife happy because it probably annoys the hell out of her. So let me just like knock this out and get to a place of completion, and then I can go back.
Yeah.
When we start to like tinker and sort of screw every bolt halfway in,
yep.
And I start to question, like, is the medication helping in those moments, right? It gets me going, but if I'm not still completing the task, that's when it's tricky to work with, because it's like the motor is still revved, it's still in drive, and we're going 35 miles an hour down the hallway, and everything feels urgent and everything feels equally urgent.
100%.
So task prioritization is very difficult.
And
very difficult.
I would go so far as to say we're not just in drive, we're in overdrive, because as I'm painting that hole and I notice the dents, there's definitely like on my like one shoulder and the other shoulder. Like one shoulder is like, dude, do not go there. Do not go to those. You don't need to go to those dents. And I feel like, a little bit of the medication is probably like making me feel like, no, just go. Because just do it now. Do it now. It's going to look even better. You're going to really impress your wife. She's going to love no, that's not how it goes. Just get the thing done. So yeah, that is my biggest struggle, I would say, is getting like blocking off the time and actually doing the thing. And then when I do it, don't overdo it. Because that's the funny part, is like, all I had to do is paint the hole. And in the beginning, I didn't even have to paint the hole. Like if I would have just left it alone, it would have just still been there. But then I created this whole painting project for no reason.
Yeah. And then it starts to feel a little, I'm gonna say this for me, and I hope this does not come across offensive, but there were times when I took my medication and it felt a little tweaky. Like it just felt like I was going a little too quick, noticing every little thing, everything's bothering me, and trying to complete a million tasks at once, and I'm just sort of running on a treadmill.
Well, I don't take offense to it because, going to another ADHD symptom of rejection sensitivity to then, and I'm not trying to make this a marriage therapy session with Ryan and Andrea, but to then at the end of it, Andrea ends up saying, do me a favor and don't ever touch the paint again unless like we're talking about it or like I'm right there and we're going to work on the thing. Like just don't touch the paint again. So of course now I feel terrible. Like I was trying to help and I overdid it. And now like all of it was my fault basically, but it makes me feel bad, which is not what I was, not what either of us was going for.
So for a lot of my clients, especially clients who are fortunate enough to have a partner that does not struggle with the same symptoms or does not have the same diagnosis, I find it really, really helpful to lean on my husband for tasks that I don't excel at. An example of that is I found through, multiple like moves and buying houses and whatnot, my brain does not easily categorize things and organize things in a flow-like state. I have a hard time with that. I also, for ADHD, object permanence is very hard. If we don't see it, it doesn't exist. So when we're setting up the kitchen and trying to decide where to put the silverware and the plates and this, it's very clear to my husband, who's in the medical field, a methodical purpose of like, if you put the pan here, you would turn around and put it on the burner very easily, right? If you grab the cup from here, you would turn around and go right to the water. My brain simply does not work like that.
Exactly.
I could sit paralyzed for, an entire day trying to figure out where to put the forks. I'm a very high functioning individual, and if I can't figure out where to put forks, my brain's not online in the right way. So I will lean on my husband and ask for assistance. Like, hey, give this a home. That's a conversation that we have often in our house. Give this a home, and then tell me where the home is. And once something has a home, I can easily put it there. He's better at picking homes for things than I am. A lot of times you'll see, if it's up to me, the drawer will contain items that have no relation to each other. But now they all live together because Chelsea decided they would be easiest to access if they're in the top drawer. Everything becomes a junk drawer.
Totally.
Right? And so if we have people in our lives, maybe that's an ADHD coach, maybe that's a partner, their brain is able to better organize something, and that's an area that we struggle in, I lean into that.
Totally.
I don't try typically to take on tasks that I know I'm probably going to strike out at. And not that I just like boot everything over to my husband if it's hard, but I do try to at least play to our strengths. There are things that he doesn't enjoy doing around the house, or there are things that feel, like when you talk about like the delegation of tasks in a marriage, and what is torturous to one person is not to the other. Maybe you equally hate folding laundry, so that's why you do it together. Maybe one of you, hates cleaning the toilets, but the other one just cannot stand vacuuming. Maybe the sound of it, right? So like taking one for the team and sort of switching off, playing to each other's strengths and playing to what doesn't bother the other person.
Absolutely.
I don't know if that makes sense, but I definitely try to avoid any rejection sensitivity and taking things too personal by just acknowledging that I have strengths and weaknesses.
Totally. And I really appreciate bringing that up because I always say to Andrea, like, I want to help her because I know that she has to carry way more than her fair share. And I'm always willing to help. I just need some direction on how to help, how to best help. So I always ask her, like, can we do this together? Because when we're doing something together, it's a lot easier basically for me to stay on track because it is like body doubling. We're co-working on the thing. It just makes it way easier.
But that's an intervention that works for you. I would push back on that, and I do with my clients a lot. It has to work for both members of the marriage, right? So that could, Andrea, correct me if I'm wrong, I might be overstepping here, but that can feel like having another child in the household sometimes. Like we have to be babysat because we're adults with ADHD.
It's just tough because if I'm not part of it, it just doesn't happen. And that's just what I've come to have a acceptance.
Yeah, but that's tough. And we're perfectly capable. Ryan, you were perfectly capable of completing tasks without her there to babysit you. I'm going to be on his ass now. Now you've told me information that I'm going to circle back to him on because we can. We get into a really debilitating cycle, and then when we strike out at something, it can be hard to learn to master it, especially if it doesn't come easy to us. And I too like body doubling a lot, but my husband is very, very independent, and that puts a lot of stress on him.
Sure.
To have to do tasks that, we got to divide and conquer.
Yeah.
Part of it is we just had too many kids. We have kids, so we have to divide and conquer.
Right.
So there's just a lot of time when we have to be at different places at different times, right? Or
Sure.
doing, to knock it out. And I think being really honest about that is something, and being really honest about what it's like to be married to us, right? Like it's not easy. We are not easy to be married to, I do often reflect on that my husband has been such a trooper in this and, really had a lot of patience in helping me through this. Even though it's something that, arguably is in my wheelhouse and I help other people with it, a lot of times we in our home life don't carry over some of those skills.
Have you? What do you mean? As my uncle would say, I resemble that remark. Yeah, because that's obviously the ultimate irony for me is like when I'm working with a client, it's like I can see it so clearly and help them to see it and give them unbiased feedback on it. But then with myself, even if I know it's happening, it's like, well, I'm just like buckle up. Here we go. So yeah, we are very lucky to have our partners.
Many ADHD marriages have the same problems. I mean,
Yeah.
look at Melissa Orlov's book. I mean, the woman couldn't even stay married herself.
Yeah.
I mean, that's sad. That's really sad.
It is sad, and it is something, and I think, I don't want to speak for all therapists, but I think as a therapist, when we come to a position, like I think I would be the absolute worst person if say my kids are diagnosed with ADHD. I wouldn't try for a second to treat them. I would not try for 1 second to be the therapist on the case. I would literally refer out because I'm just too close to the situation to have any sort of effectiveness. I'm in it. I'm part of the problem, right? I'm the parent. And so it's like, not part of the problem in any creating it, but it would just get too close to it, and it's like when someone's in the medical field, like they can't necessarily see it clearly within their own home. I think we have such a healthier perspective if we can step back from it. And so, admitting our own weaknesses, admitting that we're still working through it. I think being on the other side of medication and having thrived for 2 years and having proof in the pudding, like I can do this without meds. I have done it now successfully. My business is thriving. I don't miss appointments. I'm actually more consistent and I follow through better without medication. My experience has been it is more manageable because I'm not outsourcing all of my functioning to a pill. And that's what I did. That's for me. That's what I did. I relied on that thing like it was the gold. Like this is going to fix me every day.
So Chelsea, right now your functioning level if 100% is like, you don't miss anything, you don't forget anything, you're prioritizing perfectly, like, where are your ADHD symptoms on a level of like 100% is like, you're doing amazing?
Today without medication?
Yeah.
I would say I probably function at a steady like 90, 95.
Good for
Like
you.
they feel very manageable. I complete tasks. I do what I say I'm going to do. I am very consistent. I also am like emotionally regulated. I have control over how I prioritize my attention. That's one of the things, and Ryan, you touched on this, and I'm not sure how to describe it unless you've ever taken the medication, but to feel like your mind is like sort of taken off on you.
Yeah.
And my attention, I would get down rabbit holes of things that did not matter,
Yep.
you know, and that might be because I'm emotionally fueled. I'm like, you know, upset with the school on something or just something so stupid that I would waste a significant amount of time on it. Now I don't have the energy to do that, to sort of spin out. And so it's easier for me because I had an attentive type. I should also say that.
That's a good point. That's important.
If you are a severely hyperactive adult, it looks different. It really does. But I would also say that it should, if you have sort of that driven by a motor, you should be okay. You should sort of bounce back without the stimulant. It's going to look at a lot of like distress tolerance, a lot of containing of that energy rather than trying to rev up.
You just said you don't have the energy now. Are you struggling with like some fatigue issues?
Not really. Not 2 years out. Mm-mm.
No, I think.
What did you mean by you don't have the energy?
What I think she meant is like before, when we're revved up on a stimulant, we will keep pushing something and going past the point. Like me filling in all the dents. Like if I'm putting myself in Chelsea's position, if I was off stimulants and it was 2 years from now, I would do the hole, I would cover the hole, and then I would look at the dents and be like, yeah, I just don't feel like doing that. Instead of like when I was there, it was almost like I couldn't even help it. And I'm like, I'm just going to do it because I'm here. And what Chelsea's saying is she doesn't, it's just like, I'm not going to go there.
It's artificial energy. I'm saying I don't have the artificial energy.
Ooh, artificial.
Got it. Chelsea, would you be open to trying whole food nutrition to see if you could get those extra 5% to get to 100% of functioning?
Is that what you do? Are you a nutritionist?
I am very passionate about whole food nutrition.
Yeah, I would definitely be open to it. It isn't something, I mean, it hasn't become, I was able to get to this level of functioning and it works pretty well.
Right.
If I can get that extra 5-10% in, like, why not?
Let's go. Yeah, exactly.
Chelsea, how many fistfuls of fruits and vegetables a day do you eat?
I would say probably 5.
Okay.
That's great.
Yeah. If we can get you to 10, I think we can get you to that 100%, Chelsea.
Yeah, I do. Right. I do, and I noticed too, I need to have consistent protein. That's huge for me. I
sure.
have to have consistent protein in my diet. Also, fruits and vegetables for sure. I try to take a multivitamin. People always ask about supplements. I never found, I mean, my take on it was like, it was a waste of time. Nothing was going to rev my engine like Adderall did, so why bother? I just felt like I was always disappointed by supplements, so I never went down that route.
Right, because only whole food can get absorbed into your small intestine. Vitamins are man-made. They don't get absorbed. They don't get into your bloodstream like real food does.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely, I think especially for kids, the diet piece is really, really important to learn what works for their body. And that's something that we're, like I said, one of our kids he's showing the signs of ADHD for sure.
How many
as far as to label him with that.
Don't ask that question.
Yeah. Well, Chelsea, what we do to bridge that gap between what we do eat in a day and how many nutrients our body can absorb in a day is we take plant powders and capsules. And that helps us get all those extra nutrients into our body. And perform at our top level as far as like energy goes. And we've had just rock solid immune systems. We haven't been sick in over a year.
Have you found that like to be helpful in the times when you're saying like Ryan was totally debilitated off medication? Like, is that something that you would recommend like upping during that time to try to get him like feeling better?
That was before we knew about it, but that's a great point. Like when we were in Denver, would doing more of those powders?
I think anything would have been helpful those days.
Yeah, those were tough.
Those were very, very low days for our marriage.
Yeah, it is tough. It is really, really tough. I think back on my ADHD journey, and if I'm being completely vulnerable, there were a lot of times when I let my own limitations, my own perceived limitations, let me opt out of things that just I didn't want to do.
Sure.
If I'm being completely honest, I just didn't want to do them. And I would say I couldn't do them because of my ADHD. And that simply, I know today was not true. But, like moving and packing, my poor husband has had to pack an entire, like, home and do everything, because I was like, I can't, I'm overwhelmed, and I opted out on him a lot. And we've been married a long time, and that is something that now I get to like heal those ruptures, right? I get to show up consistently. I get to do things that I don't want to do that are hard for my brain sometimes, but I get to follow through. And sometimes my motivation is just for the sake of my marriage.
There you go.
For the sake of balancing things out. And I think as a woman, by default, we carry the lion's share of the mental load in general. But for women who are married to someone with ADHD, sorry, Ryan, it's amplified because there's never a time when you feel you can delegate and offload that stressor, right? You can't necessarily, if you're having to body double with Ryan, or if you're having to, try to hope that he follows through, doesn't get distracted on something like filling in the wall, it's still on our checklist. It's still on the mom's brain, and we have to struggle with that. So there's no relief from that. And it's what I see in a lot of ADHD marriages. It's like, it makes it hard. And I had to own that as a mom, and I got really good at that. I'd never like let my kids down or anything like that, or not follow through on something for them. I find it really easy to show up for other people, but it definitely, in terms of my husband and proving to him sort of that I could manage through hard things, was really important. So that he could, if it were something, no, Chelsea's going to handle it. She's going to fall through and she's going to knock it out of the park. Even if it's in an area that maybe isn't my finest, like when he folds the laundry, it looks really crisp and perfect. It looks like you're at Nordstrom's where he like does the tuck and it's just the front of the shirt. And I'm just like, oh, screw it. There's a crease right down the center but it's folded.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
But it's not quite to his pristine,
sure,
A+ job. But sometimes we just got to get it done.
I love that. Well, Chelsea, I'm so glad you're able to join us tonight. And again, I take full ownership of the late start. So
it's okay. It sounds like you guys had a really tough night, and I'm sorry to hear about what was going on. That's that, and I commend you both for even showing up and being able to be present following that.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Cool. Yeah. So before we go, are you able to work with people outside of California or not so much?
Yes, I am.
All right.
So I do coaching.
Yeah.
And under the auspices of coaching, if it becomes something that is very clinical, or somebody is in with acute withdrawal or needs medical intervention, then I refer out. Or sometimes, like, I've had a client that was experiencing too many side effects as they were getting off of medication and needed to be inpatient, needed like a rehab facility. So
sure,
there are times when if it gets dicey, I refer out to a clinician in their state. But yes, I do. I coach people all over the world now, and it's really great.
I'm so grateful for your vulnerability in sharing your story. Where can people connect with you if they'd like to learn more?
Yeah, so my website is just my first first and last name Chelsea. My last name is Yule, like Yuletide, YULE.com. I'm also on TikTok at Chelsea Yule Coaching, and I don't have an Instagram. I'm literally so new to social media. Like, I commend you too. You guys have this mastered and down, but I'm like 90 days in just trying to figure out how to message back to people.
Well,
Like,
you're doing amazing. I think what I have found is as long as you just keep leading with authenticity, like the rest pretty much takes care of itself.
Yeah, and ask on LinkedIn for free interns.
Oh,
Well, we'll connect on that because I have more ideas for you.
yeah, no, I appreciate it. And I want to learn more about like the plant-based stuff and nutrition, because I definitely I'm always trying to hack my body, whatever that
Yeah,
looks like. I'm trying to get to 100%. And I don't ever want to be in a position like it felt in the early days. So
Oh my gosh.
the more energy, the better.
In Chelsea, the best part about the Juice Plus plant powders that we take is when an adult puts an order in, the kid gets an order for free.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's
Well,
very cool. Is this a company that you guys started, or are you like a sales person for it?
Ryan's an affiliate.
yeah,
Okay.
it's something that we ended up, honestly, for our oldest son, he was really struggling with constipation. Just they tend to be picky eaters sometimes. And we were willing to do anything. And my brother, who has nothing to do with the nutritional field, he was like, "Hey, I'm taking these plant powders and
Because they were helping his joint
He's
pain.
like, "This
He
has
had
helped-
severe joint pain.
this is helping my joint pain. I don't know if it would help your son or not." And we're like, "Sure." And then we found out, like Andrea said, that you can get free.
And I can't pass up a good deal, Chelsea. So when I heard that Ethan could get it for free if I got it, I'm like, all right, Ethan, we're doing this as a team.
I love it. How long have you been taking it or kind of experimenting with it?
Almost a year now.
It's
And
incredible.
and what's even more incredible, we have not been sick. I'm knocking on this wood.
And
Like-
our whole community was sick, Chelsea. Like half the people were out of the Cleveland school districts the week before Christmas, and it never touched us.
That's fantastic.
So like, I don't think it's a coincidence. It's just weird.
And,
It's kind of
and
weird.
ask Siri, ask Google. Juice Plus is the most researched nutritional product in the world.
It's true.
It has over 47 double-blind, placebo, golden studies.
That's incredible. Yeah, I'll definitely look into it.
Cool.
Thank you for
Of course.
the reference, and I'll do some research on it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We're happy to help. It's just been so helpful for our family, and has cured Ethan of his constipation. And we're just, we'd be remiss not to share with other families. So
Yeah, no, for sure. And the nutritional part is, especially for kids, especially with hyperactivity, a big piece. Those red dyes, like stuff that you're talking about, going back to that.
yeah,
amazing.
Ethan actually has an appointment with a functional medicine doctor tomorrow, who had 3 sons with ADHD that she really helped to curb their symptoms with nutrition. So I'm excited to dive deeper with her tomorrow.
Yeah, that's incredible. You just made me realize I had a client that got into becoming a nutritionist, and when she came to me originally, a psychologist had diagnosed her with autism, and she was like, "I can't work, I can't do anything, I can't thrive, like I need to be on disability, that's it." And it was like, whoa, like what is going on? Like, let's reassess, like I don't know, I don't agree with that. And she went into nutrition, and she changed her complete diet over, and a lot of the symptoms that she was experiencing were eliminated or reduced to the point of functionality. Now she's a very successful nutritionist, and she has her own practice.
Whoa.
I love hearing those.
Really
stories.
cool.
I love that.
That's so cool.
Really, really cool. And
Well-
not to say that works for all autism. Like, she was a special case, but she definitely came in not functioning and healed herself through it. And it was incredible to watch.
Yeah. The number one thing I'm hoping we can find for our son is just like more happiness.
Yeah.
Like in the morning, he just like comes into our room and he's like, "Give me breakfast." Like, he's just like always so grumpy. So I'm hoping like if we adjust his inner workings, nutrition, maybe will spark some inner peace and happiness.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is he hyperactive? Is that the type
I
of
think
ADHD that he struggles with?
he's officially hyperactive, but we think he's combination.
Yeah, I agree.
Ryan's combination.
Yeah, yeah. It's tough, and it's tough for kids to understand.
Yeah.
It is. It's really hard for kids to understand emotions in general at that age, right? And to understand emotions that get away from them so quickly. Ryan, you're going to be his best teacher because you'll be able to attune to him and make it make sense, right? When it doesn't make sense, when we do not understand, because adults, we don't even understand sometimes. I'll have a reaction to something. I'm like, whoa, what was that? That felt really real.
Chelsea, we can't even get him to verbalize about emotions.
It was just, I was getting like
There's
a little,
a
I was,
word for that.
I was getting a little glassy eyed, like, as you were saying that, because like we've tried so many things, and even when it's just me and him, and it's like, I don't do it like very close to ground zero where there was the explosion. Like, I wait until it's just like we're driving to basketball practice or to his friend's house or whatever. And I'll try to say like, hey, remember when you got really mad last night and you were throwing the chairs down in the kitchen about your Nerf gun? Like, what did it feel like in that moment for you? That had to be hard. And he'll just be like, I don't know. And like, can't like genuinely has a hard time describing or connecting. So yeah,
And it is a thing. It's called alexithymia. Have you ever heard of it, Chelsea?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it's part of it's it is really hard. Have you guys ever tried play therapy with him? Take him to a play therapist or more?
Ryan, we had a coach last year that was like encouraging Ryan to do it. And he would do it a couple times, but like Ryan didn't feel successful.
Well, I'm not laughing at the suggestion. It's an amazing suggestion. And it was when
you did play therapy, or I'm saying for your
No,
kid.
no, I know. Meaning like I was the one that, so the coach told us about it. So we did not officially like work with a play therapist, but there was a coach who specializes in working with kids and families. And she gave us, like we spent a whole session talking about like play therapy and being like, hey, and like showing, like using Legos or action figures or something like, hey, this person's like beating up on this person.
How does this person feel? Or
did the coach have a clinical training?
Of course, now it's like I'm like not able to recite it the way that she actually told us, but she did have it. She has extensive training, and I don't know exactly.
With what I
But
find
yeah.
with kids is, and this, it's hard because I'm a parent too, right? But we are not a lot of times effective at the ground zero intervention.
Yeah, right.
We are effective in shared experience. I think that's what I was referring to.
Yeah.
Right, and how helpful you'll be to be able to understand once he is able to put some words to it, right? And once he kind of gets to that developmental. But play therapy is really like needs to be done in a therapeutic environment, removed from the household,
right?
In a very specific way to be able to interpret it properly.
Yeah.
And because it's in the interpretation that you get the wording, right? The therapist kind of helps them make sense of things as they're acting it out. And so it's interesting to jump to now. Could you do that at home after the kid has experienced it or responded well to it? Not all kids like it either. Some kids are just like, screw this. I don't do play therapy. I don't work with young kids. I feel like I have enough kids of my own, but it can be tremendously helpful. It needs to. It's interesting. It's like some kids love it and feel really comfortable not having to, and especially if there's some autism like in there, some of those characteristics, because then they're not forced to communicate. They can just, be, and they think that they're just like playing and having fun, and it doesn't feel as pressured.
Maybe
talk therapy is a nightmare for kids.
But yeah, but no, to your point, it may be worth re-exploring that. But yeah, so. Well, anything else for Chelsea? Well, I'll get you two connected so you can talk nutritional and parenting stuff. But thank you again for the time. This was really awesome. Thanks
Thank
for
you, Chelsea.
joining us.
Thank
This
you
was so
guys,
cool.
and have a wonderful night.
Yeah.
And give your husband a big kiss and say, "You're the best hubby in the world."
I know.
Yeah.
And we had a rough night leading up to this with kid stuff too. So
Yeah.
yeah, I definitely need to circle back and
Yeah.
thank you for being that grounding force. So I could come and I'm at my office, I'm not at home, so
Yeah.
that I could focus and do this. So,
Amazing.
yeah.
Glad to help. All
Awesome.
right, cool,
All right.
Chelsea. See you later.
Thank you guys.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
All right, and we just want to say thanks to all of you for hanging out, and just know that ADHD doesn't define you. I know it's hard, but it's just how our brains are wired, and we keep working together to take it one step at a time. You can see, if you didn't already know, you could see during this conversation, Andrea and I certainly are not perfect. We have struggles, we have challenges within the family. But that's why we continue to show up, because we want to just show you that you're not alone. So if you haven't already, we hope you'd consider joining our free digital community so you can get connected with other people who might be experiencing similar things. But thank you to all of you who are following me. Send me a DM. We can send you some free digital resources because we're just here to help as many people as we can. Thank you all. LJ Mayer too. So glad that you're able to join. We missed you. We love you. Oh, thanks. Thanks, NDA Cole. You're awesome too. All right. We'll see you guys next Tuesday. Bye.
Good night.